Hello, hey, what is up, everybody? It's getting kind of warm out. I'm gonna have to stop doing this pretty soon. This is my end of the league start preparation video for my Poisonous Concoction Pathfinder. What I did this weekend is I spent a couple hours preparing what I estimated about, who knows, between 4 and 7 days into the league, what that will look like. Basically, what the final form of the character I want it to be. As stated previously, my purpose this league is to have a very effective, easy to scale league starter that is entirely based around the idea that I want to spec it into something else that will then be good at boss killing, maybe good at simulacrum, maybe whatever. And very much this is a build that if you choose to, you can take it much further. I've seen examples of this build doing 15 to 20 million DPS at high investment. I've seen it do wave 30 simulacrum. You could definitely look that up if you want to. But this is my personal goal. This is my league start plan. As always stated, I am sharing with you my preparation, my planning to help you guys follow along if you're interested. But if you're not interested, or if you just want to watch this for education or entertainment, that is a-okay as well. But this is not a blanket recommendation. Hey, this is the best league starter, you know, blah, blah, blah. You should definitely play this. This is what I am doing. If you just want to wait for the patch notes, that's a-okay. But I think you are selling yourself short on what you're able to do in terms of preparation before patch notes. Patch notes do not dramatically change the game. And I think that that is something that I want to address in a day or two. So definitely get subscribed if you're interested in hearing about that. You know, the way that advanced players adapt based on patch notes and all that, I think can be an educational and interesting thing for people to learn from. But anyway, let me get this coat off. It is getting pretty warm in here, and start talking about what I did, spend a couple hours putting it together, and give you an idea of what I'm aiming for my end game of my league starter before I spec into a second build. All right, I'm not going to go over all of the details of what's going on here. The POB will be in the description below. I'm just going to give a very, very brief overview. I want to make it super clear that this is just a best guess of where I would be between 4 and 7 days into the league. A lot of this is suboptimal gear. It's really just kind of mix and matching from what I had in my stash already. A lot of it, right? Look at this body armor. It's got spell crit on it. You could pretend this is just, you know, a non-influence body armor. It's doing nothing there, right? This is just an estimation of what would go into the build a handful of days into the league. As long as I shoot for this, right? Shoot for the moon, land among the stars. This is going to be good enough, right? Who knows if Ashes of Stars will be available, if it's going to be cheap. If it's not, you know, we could do something like Dendro Bait with an Astromentus, right? And we can go for Poison Duration, Poisonous Chance. We could go for Cherubim's Maleficence. We could go for Carcass Jack. There's a lot of potential options out there. That this is not a blanket recommendation. Brief overview is we're going for armor and evasion bases. We're going for as much life as possible on as many pieces as possible. Despair on hit ring, you can just get a hunter ring, throw it into Reforged Caster in Harvest. Try to get as much life as possible. The boots just have whatever, action speed, movement speed. I did get chance to poison on hit here, which is really, really nice. This lets us actually move one of the nodes on the passive tree around. As always with this build, you want to target very specifically 100% chance to poison. Make sure you click Poisonous Concoction here. Scroll down, look for that chance to poison. You want to get that to exactly 100%. Anything more than that is not going to help you. So once you have 100% chance to poison, you're good to go. And you can then do an audit of your passives here, right? And you can like kind of move some around, you know, go for some of the more damage nodes instead of chance to poison. The gear is like whatever, just go for armor, go for evasion, go for as much life as possible. Ashes of the Stars is pretty cool. I went for spell suppression, chance to avoid ailments here. Everything else is like very league startery type of gear. Poisonous Concoction, Divergent Greater Volley, whatever, Greater Volley, GMP, Deadly Ailments, Life Tap, Awakened Unbound Ailments here, you know, regular if you can't get Awakened. I allocated Corruption. I went for a Dying Sun. If this is expensive, just use, you know, get a Basalt Flask or something defensive. You can use a Quartz Flask for phasing and some spell suppression. Otherwise, the gems actually have been untouched since the last video. I recommend going through the POB and just getting a little bit more of a download. And as always, this is not perfectly efficient or anything. This is an Enchanted Helmet, Despair Curse Effect, Eldritch Implicits. This is the hard thing with trying to talk about this build and why I'm very specifically not talking as like, this is a build guide and this is what you should do. It's crazy. You can just go to PoEDB, look at the list of the Eldritch Implicits there, And there's so many, right? You can just scroll through these and any of these things could be viable, like for the body armor here, right? We got increased chaos damage. Technically, global increased physical damage could have some value for us. Increased effective non-curse auras, increased effective curses. Flask supply do have increased effect. Flask gain charges is actually really, really good. All max res. Like, my recommendation here is scroll through, PoE DB, really, really good. Go to body armors, and then you can go to the different implicits here. So you can just click on modifiers, go to body armors, and then Searing Exarch, Eater of Worlds implicits. Scroll through and see if anything jumps out to you. If it looks like it could work for the build, especially in a league start scenario, right? The most important thing is just have something that works, right? Don't worry about targeting that perfect end game, perfect setup. Just aim for something that is comfortable, does something for your build, because the most important thing is not being like paralyzed by choice and getting in those maps, advancing your atlas, do your heisting or delve or whatever your strategy is. Like, it's too much time fiddling around with your build and being like stressed out about it, especially. Not only are you being super inefficient, but you're detracting from the fun that you're having. It's really hard for me as someone who, people come to me for answers a lot, on stream especially. And the answer is often like, it's not a big deal. It doesn't really matter. I don't know, find something that works. My general approach when it comes to a lot of things in this game is, there's absolutely the perfect maximum of finding out exactly how to get the max DPS or something. But if it took you, 5 hours of fiddling around and whatever to get there, and if you have fun doing that, as always, that's fine. But, you have to really measure that opportunity cost versus just playing the game. Perfect min-maxing and all that is really not necessary whatsoever. So all of this will be in the POB. You can look at the gear. This is my proposal for what is possible if you're interested in it. And if you like this, feel free to copy what I'm doing. But as always, I encourage you, go out there, try stuff, level your own version, go to standard, take random crap out of your stash, put a version together, see what feels good to you. What feels best to me won't feel best to you. I'm actually, I'm trying really hard not to min-max or anything, just a regular league start scenario. If this is not your league start, tone it down, bring it down to 5 links, take all of the gear and make sure there's no modifier above tier 3 or something like that. For me, this is my equivalent of 4 to 7 days into the league. For me, this is the end of the build. I am totally done with it. I am not going to push this any further. The follow-up videos are going to be things like, how am I managing my early economic strategy, and how am I preparing for my build switch? How am I going to unlock my atlas? All of those type of things, as well as doing other early league start preparation builds for people that are interested. All right, and then we'll just do a quick little demonstration. So also I want to talk about a little bit of the theory here. As you can see with my flask up, I have 22,300 armor and 50% evasion and 100% spell suppression, as well as decent avoidance and some block and some good chaos res. I very purposely built this in a way going as much for life as possible. I wanted to see how tanky I could make this build. And I think that is a comfortable way that we can put builds together for, players. I think especially newer players, they really get tripped up a lot on death, honestly. With everything in life, accepting the inevitability of death is an important part of of living, I guess. Didn't mean to get too macabre there. Everyone has a different tolerance for how squishy and tanky their character is. And I very purposely, as a proposal for newer players, built this basically as tanky as I could get it within the parameters, like the league start parameters that I put forward. You can make this a much, much, much more DPS oriented build. If you prefer, I recommend going to PoE.ninja. Just click Poisonous Concoction, Pathfinder, sort by DPS, start looking by what they did. Big thing that I noticed is they go for more cluster jewels. They go for timeless jewels. You really go for chaos dot multiplier, poison duration, stuff like that on the gear. I went for basically as few damage modifiers as I could on my gear. So the playstyle here is we just hit our Plague Bearer. We want to start incubating, right? So Plague Bearer is a ternary modifier, right? So when you first slot in the gem, it has no buff. You have to press it once when you go into a map. Then it will start incubating. You'll see your character is glowing green here. I should prefer the Stygian Plague Bearer. It's if you have the MTX, makes it a lot easier to tell. So when your character is glowing blue or green like that, that means you're incubating. You will deal less poison damage, but you will be stacking up the amount of infection in the Plague Bearer. You want to be looking for it to hit its max number. I know mine is 1.4 million. And then when it hits that max, then I press it, and then I'm going to get a blue circle around my character. And then I can basically just run around, dealing damage to monsters in an AoE around you. When it runs out, you're going to watch it charge up again. It'll immediately start incubating, start charging up again. So we'll watch it run out, and then very quickly, like we're doing quite a decent amount of damage here. So very quickly, it will recharge, and then we just press a button again. And then we can kind of just like shield charge around and kill the stuff around us. Since I have Despair on hit on my ring, I'm kind of purposely also attacking it a little bit in addition, just to get a little bit more damage there. And then we're just shield charging around, killing the monsters, pressing our Plague Bearer. And, you know, it's a little bit of a fiddly playstyle. It's not as absolutely brainless as like a bow build or anything like that. It's not just a one button kill two screens, but I do find it very, very comfortable. I enjoy it. I think Plague Bearer is good. This is incredibly tanky. Our flasks are very, very strong. They're giving us great defense. And yeah, I like it. I like it, especially, considering the gear that I'm wearing, which I think is very achievable within a week, even for a, moderate player. I will avoid using the tainted word casual. Everyone has their own preference here. And what we can do here is we can press our Volmoten Shell. We'll become incredibly tanky. We drop our Ancestral Protector, and we can kind of just stand here, make sure we hit our Plague Bearer, and you'll see the poison damage will ramp up. It'll start doing decent damage, and it's enough, right? This is a tier 14 map, which I'm totally happy. We can do tier 16. It'll be even slower on the single target. No big deal. I'm very happy with this performance. It's acceptable to me. If this is appealing to you, you want something that's this giga tanky, this smooth, like it's fast, right? This is a very, very, very fast build in my opinion, considering a league start scenario. If this is appealing to you, great. The POB is below. As always, it is not a blanket, hey, this is perfect, play it like this, but it is a recommendation. This is a template for me to follow on my league start. And if you like it, you can definitely follow along at twitch.tv/Subtractem. Get subscribed below if you want, more content like this, walking through my process. I would love to help elevate all of you guys to being very strong, successful, and happy Path of Exile players. Boom. And so there we go. I had a lot of fun putting this build together, and I hope that you guys at least get some ideas or you're excited about your own league starts. Definitely let me know if you want me to work on something else. We have over a week left, very close to 2 weeks actually. And I want to continue preparing stuff, maybe even try, non-ranger. Ooh, maybe even try non-ranger and non-occultist league start type of stuff. If you have any suggestions there, I'd love to hear it. I would love to continue to expand my skills and share that process with you guys so we can all get better, be better gamers, and just be happier with our progress, achieving our goals. So as always, thanks to all of you guys. Thanks to my subscribers. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much to my patrons, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye.